Welcome to Queen's Park Report. I'm Mark Rockburn. Joining me as always is Northumberland Peterborough South MPP David Piccini. And David, some good news this week for the province, one in which many people have been waiting for. Not all people in the province are happy, and certain reasons that aren't going to be able to open in phase 2 come this Friday. But obviously Northumberland Peterborough South is in the area that is in phase 2 that gets the opening. Talk about the opening and what it's really going to mean for the economy and for the residents of the riding.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I mean, everybody's been making immense personal sacrifice and working really hard to help flatten the curve. And we know locally we've had very good results vis-a-vis a flattening of the curve and a relatively low rate of COVID-19. I mean, in fact, our region has done exceptionally well. We've had very few COVID cases. So it's critical that we get this economy going. It's critical that people open up. It's critical we get back to work. And my message to residents of Northumberland, Peterborough South, but more specifically Northumberland and Peterborough South, given that the sliver of Clarington that we represent is within the region of Durham. But for everyone else, my message for the folks of Northumberland is now is the time to support local. Now is the time to go out to support your local business. We're going to have patios open this Friday. Consider going and supporting your favorite restaurant. Our hospitality sector has been hit hard. It's time we get going. And for everyone out there, from childcare centers to opening of our restaurants on the patios, to retail that are opening, it's important we rebound. And I'm looking forward to going out to explore one of the many patios in Northumberland this weekend.
I was going to ask you if your whole entire riding is open, but you stated that the little chunk that you do in Clarington is not. What do you say to those people saying they're like literally minutes away from having to drive across the border and, cross a boundary line that's, on a map, and then you get into a riding that is now open?
Yeah, I understand it's difficult. I understand it's frustrating. Durham has had higher cases of COVID-19. In fact, we had a number of cases in Newcastle. So I understand. We're close. We're very close, and just bear with us for a short while longer, and we're keen to open things up for Durham region as well. But I understand it is difficult, but the recommendation and advice of the Chief Public Health Officer, and obviously I work with all three in our region, that's the decision that's been made just to protect those areas.
So David, let's talk a little bit about more phase 2 opening, and a question that I've had asked of me to be able to ask of you is, with restaurants, why only outdoor patios and not indoors where they can limit the seats?
Yeah, for now it's outdoor patios. There's very, very little risk. We've heard from our public health officials on transmission of COVID-19 in outdoor setting. We've looked at expanding patios. I'm working with our municipality. I've just spoken with our mayors. We've streamlined applications for AGCO to ensure that licensing is able to move quickly and effectively. This is what I've heard from our municipalities. This is what we've heard from the people, and certainly, we know that stage 3, we're on our way to stage 3, which would be an opening indoors as well. But for now, with the nice weather we have and the summer we're in, let's get the patios open, and let's look at the health and safety protocols. Bringing servers back. I don't want to underestimate the significance and severity of this global pandemic, Mark, and to be able to wind back up and get things, safety precautions and procedures in place. There's going to be a bit of a learning curve with PPE with these measures right now. So I think it's an important and prudent first step. And I know we're keen to get inside as well. And that's not too far off.
It's certainly going to be a steep learning curve for restaurant owners and servers to be able to scale up as quickly. The announcement was made Monday. They can't open on Friday. It doesn't mean they have to open on Friday. They're just saying that if you are able to open, you can open on Friday and have all the steps in place. But it's going to be a steep learning curve for those servers to be able to get up on board and to follow proper protocol right off the bat.
Yes, it is. And we've released a series of guidelines through Ministry of Labor that can be found. I know I've been sending them out to different chambers, to working with our small businesses, to make sure anyone who asks. But it's very easy to access on Ontario.ca's website. But those guidelines are there on a sector by sector basis, just to give you some peace of mind. And it's got some excellent recommendations as to what PPE to utilize in what scenario. And obviously, if you're unable to practice some safe distancing, how to implement and to protect oneself. And there are, a lot of work has gone in with various regulatory licensing bodies, with associations, to make sure that these guidelines are reflective of the realities on the ground. And I would encourage everyone to visit those websites. And you can access it on my website as well, at David Piccini, MPP.ca.
David, you spoke earlier that you had meetings with the mayors of municipalities to help them get through some of the red tape to be able to get these restaurants to be able to expand patios if they want to. How important is it right now to be able to get the message out and to get red tape cut quickly so these places can allow businesses to expand if they can, to be able to make as much money as they can, seeing they've been shut down for the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, Mark, that's a good question. And I know from sitting on Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs and hearing from tourism hospitality sector, they've been hit very hard. And it's important that we get back to work. And it's important that we, from a regulatory standpoint, make sure processes are streamlined so that people can, I think, outside the box. I mean, in a lot of our sector consultations that I've been holding here locally, we have 2 more to go. But we've heard real outside the box thinking. I've heard incredible ideas, innovative ideas, utilizing parks, utilizing parking spaces, additional grass spaces. And I think this is the mindset we have to be in if we're to enable the remarkable small businesses, restaurants that we so enjoy frequenting on weekends, and that are really what makes our weekends and weeknights fun from a rural setting. It's what attracts people out to our beautiful neck of Ontario. So it's critical that from a regulatory and streamlined standpoint that we make every effort to support businesses during these times. And thanks to a number of recommendations made to the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs by the Tourism Industry Association, by restaurateurs, we're in a good position right now to do that.
With restaurants and bars, David, with the gatherings of now 5 to 10 people now allowed in the province, does that mean people that aren't family members can go out to dinner with each other? Because I know that was a question that someone had asked as well.
That's a good question. That's a good question, and the answer is yes. I would go out and on a patio you can maintain physical distancing and enjoy a nice evening with friends and family, as I know so many are keen to do. So, I hope we see that, and I know for many who are there's a trepidation, no doubt, right now, but I think it's important that people in leadership positions like myself make it very clear to members of this community that we've been working hard with our labor partners. We've been working hard with public health, with our local healthcare professionals. We also have our health unit that folks can reach out to, who've been very supportive throughout this. My office, now is a time with stage 2, where we're seeing people who are going back to work. And as a community, we need to support them. And as a community, we need to support our local businesses.
Out of phase 2, David, what do you think is going to be the biggest impact in and for your region specifically? Because I know a lot of things got open: restaurants, malls, the beaches, tour guides, and such as that. What do you think is going to be the biggest impact for this area?
Well, I think we're going to see two big things I'm seeing is cottaging, certainly, for a number of RV campgrounds, cottaging, that's going to be critical. Secondly, the tourism sector, for a lot of our rural towns. I mean, you think of the rolling hills we've got in this riding, and the ability to be able to to be able to get out to a shop local to look at arts and crafts, our antiques, to be able to go and enjoy a meal on a patio, to be able to look at, I mean, we have a few wineries in this riding as well. So all of these sorts of things are important to, and very seasonal given the summer that we now find ourselves in. So, I think that the biggest impact we'll see, certainly from a cottaging perspective, but secondly, I think we will see we will see life breathe back into our downtown cores. I know many are already doing takeout and doing quite well. I supported takeout last night in Coburg myself, at the Japanese restaurant, and try and juggle it up and support different restaurants throughout our riding. But I think this is what we're all really eager for, is a bit of life back in our downtown cores. But I would encourage everyone, please, don't throw everything we've learned over the past number of months out the window. It's important advice we've been given and important sacrifices we've made.
So does MP David Piccini go visit the barber on Friday?
That's a very good question. My hair is getting very long. It's a bit of a mop on top, but I'm going to be going at some juncture. I've got a jammed the next few days, and with Standing Committee on Finance, unfortunately, I have no time to do that yet. And I'm liking a bit of the longer hair look, but I'm going to make an appointment soon to go and get my hair done, definitely. But I know there are many who are eager to get it done, so I'll let them go first, and at some juncture, I'll get my hair cut too, because don't tell this to my girlfriend, but I definitely I'm looking forward to having a professional do it.
That brings us up to our first break, David. When we come back, we're going to talk about some good news as well, because obviously with people going back to work, they have young children, they need to put their kids back into childcare centers, and some good news for the residents of Northumberland, Peterborough South. You're watching Update from the Hill. I'm Mark Rockburn. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to Queen's Park Report. I'm Mark Rockburn. Joining me as always is Northumberland Peterborough South MP David Piccini. And David, we teased a little bit at the end of the first episode that obviously with phase 2 opening, with people going back to work with young children, they need to have childcare centers open. That was part and parcel of phase 2 opening announcement, and some good news for the residents of Northumberland Peterborough South as well.
Definitely. I mean, we know that critical to reopening is childcare, and opening in that in a responsible manner. So there are 5,200 and something licensed childcare spaces located in Ontario, and we're working with them to ensure that they're opening in a responsible and safe manner. We've released guidelines and proper sanitation measures that can be taken to properly sanitize surfaces, etc. So, and in addition, made an announcement on summer camps too. So I think that's important. I mean, we understand that vital to going back to work, to bouncing back, and to allow our small businesses, our workers, our manufacturers, etc., to innovate and to get back to growing their business, to dealing with the very real impacts of COVID-19. That has to go hand in hand with childcare. And so that's why it's important that we position to do that. And, as we're seeing in a number of other provinces around Canada, we're working with all of our partners involved to make sure this is done in a safe and secure manner.
Are you aware of any that are going to open up in Northumberland County?
Yes, so we're working. I mean, I don't want to preempt an announcement shortcoming, but I know working closely with the Ministry of Education, we're bringing a new emergency childcare online, which will be announced, which everyone is now aware of in the sort of the midterm to the full childcare opening. So that was important. I heard from a lot of police officers, frontline healthcare workers. So that was an important move, and we've been working with our partners at the county to make that a reality. And then beyond that, I've had my Facebook Messenger and email has been inundated over the past few days from childcare providers. So I'm trying to get back with all of them to make sure this is done in a safe and secure manner. And for those smaller childcare spaces who are worried, will I get back to my 5 to 7 children? We're dealing with that too. So there's a lot of ongoing work being done from my office in conjunction with local childcare. But I know from those I've been speaking with, yes, we will see much more childcare, and I know that's important for folks in rural Ontario who drive throughout. Whether you're in Brighton, Cobourg, Port Hope, it's important we have more than just the traditional centers. It's got to be outside of Cobourg. We've got to get into the rural communities. So this is a priority right now.
How quickly does your phone blow up, your email blow up, and your staff's email go crazy when announcements such as what Ford makes on, what Premier Ford makes Monday at like 1 o'clock? How quickly do the calls start coming going, okay, what do I have to do to get opened up?
I've got to say, it's incredible. With from 1 o'clock to 4, my inbox is full. My voicemail messages are full. I try, with our staff, to try and put a day in everyone's shoes. So, whether it's emails, whether it's just answering the phone. I know a lot of people are surprised at night, and throughout the day, I'm just picking up the phone and answering their calls directly and trying to help folks. And that's what we're all doing in this office. Everyone's working exceptionally hard to get back to folks. And I've got a very fortunate to have a phenomenal team supporting me and supporting the people of this riding. And so, a lot of people, I understand they've been in, dealing with immense personal, professional pressures over the past number of weeks and months. And even if it's something that is available online, even if it's just, I think my job is to pick up that phone, to answer them, to try and get back to them as fast as I can, to say, here's where you can go. And there are nuances, with photography that had come up with our local town halls. So there are always nuances with spas, for example, and the pool settings and the various therapeutic measures at a spa. So there are always nuances, and through working with the relevant ministries, through working with constituents, we take these issues. They are the experts to Queen's Park. We mold public policy to ensure it accurately reflects the realities in Northumberland, Peterborough South. And at its core, that's what my job is. And I'm very proud of the work that our team does here, and getting back to people in a prompt manner to support them through these difficult times. But in short, I have never received as many phone calls, and I go to bed every night racking my mind full of things that I still have yet to do, knowing that at 2 a.m. I can't be calling people. But it's a lot. There's a lot on the go, and we're working closely, all levels of government. We have those weekly calls with our mayors and our MP, and all lines of communication with our First Nations and our municipalities is open.
How surprised are constituents when they call your office and you answer?
Very, very. Yesterday that happened a few times, but I'm trying on a personal level. I really want, I was elected. I'm full of, full of energy. Bugs some people around me, I think, from time to time, but this is what I promise the people of this riding, is to push hard, to go to bat hard for our community, to reflect, be a strong voice for rural Ontario, and to work hard to ensure that as GTA grows and as this province grows, we position our small area of the province to be a leader in terms of, be it ideas, innovation, small business, manufacturing, agriculture. And for me, accessibility is key. You've got to be accessible as an elected member. And so I try to be as accessible as I can. And I'm always open to, new ideas and new feedback from constituents. And a lot of what you see, as much as I'd love to claim it myself, it's not. It's a result of an ongoing dialogue with constituents. And they suggest, so these sector-specific consultations have made way for folks who've said, why don't we take a focused look at the environment? Or why don't we take a focused look at the most vulnerable? Or why don't we take a focused look at development, construction, etc.? So, this has spurred new ideas, and we're trying to make it all happen, and good dialogues come as a result.
David, let's shift gears a little bit now. And obviously, with the death of George Floyd, there's been many protests, not only in the United States, but also in Canada with the Black Lives Matter. There was one there was one held last week in Cobourg, another one planned this week in Port Hope as well. A very peaceful demonstration in Cobourg last week with the police by everyone's side to show the support as well. I thought I'd give you the opportunity to make a statement as well here. I know that you weren't able to attend the one in Cobourg because of the fact that you were on a call with the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs.
Yes, no, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. I mean, for many, I know having, for many in Canada, this is an opportunity to have their voices heard, and is an opportunity to express the pain and hurt that they felt as a result of of racism, and and as a result of the challenges that they've faced. And I think most poignantly here, I mean, we have two First Nations communities in our own backyard. And to the extent that this prompts a continued open dialogue to truth and reconciliation, that's very important. I think as a country, Canada is multicultural. Canada is tolerant. Canada places equity, equality of opportunity, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of how open and tolerant our country is. Can we always have dialogue, and can we always strive to do better? Yes. Does the very images that are ingrained in all of our collective minds of the final few seconds of George Floyd's death, that's has been the catalyst for a very important dialogue, and we have a phenomenal group being led here in Ontario by Jamil Javani to have that important dialogue between social policy and economic policy. And I think for the first time, we're really having that open dialogue and really making that important connection, as Jamil says, between economic and social policy. So from my perspective, to the residents of our community, I mean, Ontario, Canada has always prided itself on equality of opportunity, on being a country where immigrants from Italy can come, in the case of some of my family, to build a better life, to flee countries where there is deeply ingrained. In the case of Italy, there was fascism at the time, where segregation and injustice and prejudice runs rampant. To come to Canada for that opportunity, and we must never lose sight of that. And we must take the opportunity that we've been given now to have an important dialogue on this. So I'm open, and I'm listening, and I'm listening to members of our community who have lived experiences, and trying to learn from that. But I'm also very thankful that we do live in Canada, and we do live in Ontario, and we have a police service like the ones we have that work hand in hand, are active in our community, that support at-risk youth, like the Rebound announcement we just made with Rebound Children and Youth Services. So this now isn't a time for open dialogue, and I'm glad that people are doing that in a peaceful manner, because now is not the time now is not the time for anger. I know there's feelings of anger, but they're being expressed locally in a peaceful manner. And to that, I thank people, and I'm looking forward to continuing the dialogue.
So, David, we have about a minute and a half or so to go. So, where do we go from here with this topic?
So where we go from here is to continue these discussions for action. I mean, I think we have an opportunity now to talk about our economic and social policy, to make sure we have equality of opportunity, and to look at obstacles in doing that, be it in our education system, be it in in big business, on how we can break glass ceilings to ensure that people, women, people of people of color, people of different religious backgrounds, all have equality of opportunity in this great province that we call Ontario. And locally, I've seen important conversations happening, and I think that we continue to have to do this as a country. Within Ontario, we've launched an important panel on this, chaired by, as I mentioned, Jamil Javani. We're looking for youth. So my message to youth in Northumberland is do you have shared experiences? Do you want to be a voice? I think it's important that we have Indigenous youth at the table. So I know we're actively looking for that now, and for adults as well. And that's there's more information if you're interested, or if you know of someone that would be a powerful voice, on my website. And I would encourage people to go and be a part of that dialogue. We've made sure funding for our anti-racism directorate. We're ensuring that built into our curriculum next year. We're examining these issues. But I would say that, and I do feel it's important that, Canada is a country that is exceptionally tolerant. And what I don't want this discussion to do is to see the sort of polarization that we see in other places around the world. I think, regardless of political stripes or background, we all have a place at the table here in this discussion, and let's do it in the true Canadian spirit.
Well said, David. And thanks very much, as always, for participating this week and coming on Queen's Park Report.
Thanks very much for having me, Mark. Appreciate the opportunity.
You've been watching Queen's Park Report. I'm Mark Rockburn. We'll see you in 1 week's time.